which told him that there was no way that it was going to happen, he kept coming on to me. I eventually got him into bed by pushing him onto the bed, got the cover over him, and he was still trying to come on to me. I sat on the bed and said, look, just go to sleep, we'll talk about this in the morning. And I was getting more and more stressed, more and more aggravated with him, and angry at him. And he tried to pull at my shoulders to get me to lie down, at which point I started crying because I don't deal well with stress, and whenever I get angry or stressed or anything like that, I start crying because it's the only response I've got to it. I don't lose my temper, I don't really do anything, but the most I've done is shout at someone. Anyway, so he asked me what was wrong, and I said, what do you think's wrong? I'm trying to look after you and all you're doing is coming on to me. And at that point he hugged me, and I thought he was trying to make up for it, but it turns out that this was just another tactic to try and get me into bed. And at one point he did actually manage to pull me down, so I was lying down, and was still trying to come on to me, and I kept telling him to stop and saying no, and he just wasn't listening. And eventually the only way I got him to get the message was whilst he was trying to climb on top of me, I kicked him off using my my knee and just pushing him to the side. And he went to sleep pretty much immediately after I did that, so I don't know whether he passed out or whether he'd just given up. But yeah, I waited until I thought he was really deep under, and then I got up and looked for my coat, looked for the button that had popped off, and my bag, because I'd put those down to deal with him. And yeah, got all my stuff together, because I'd actually left some things there earlier in the evening, because we'd agreed that despite the fact that we had broken up, I was still going to spend the night at his on the sofa. And got all my stuff together and went downstairs, and then realised I couldn't actually leave the house. I was feeling pretty shaken up after dealing with him, and angry, and I was actually scared to go out on the streets, because this was about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't feel like walking home, because I didn't know whether I'd run into anybody, and I didn't know how I'd deal with that. So I tried to go to sleep on his sofa, thinking that in the morning I could get his housemate to let me out. And whilst I didn't know where his keys were, there was no way that I could let myself out and then put his keys back in the house, so it would have left his door unlocked. And you know, his housemates didn't deserve to have their stuff nicked just because he had been a complete dickhead and left me with only one way to leave the house. So I stayed there. I didn't sleep because it was cold in his living room, and you know, I was upset and stressed out, which is not exactly conducive to sleeping. And it got to about 8 o'clock in the morning. I took a pint of water upstairs and woke him up rather gently, considering, you know, I was thinking of throwing a glass of water over him for being so nasty to me. And woke him up, gave him a glass of water, stood as far away from him as I could whilst he was drinking that. And then had a chat with him about what had happened the night before, because I don't run away from my problems, I confront them. And I told him what had happened, and he said it didn't sound like him, but that he was sorry. And he seemed genuinely sad and upset about it, and